The phone rang like a gunshot in the hollow silence of Grandma's empty kitchen, shattering the echo of Aunt Karen's parting shot. "You think you're special, Riley? God's got a funny way of sorting out the sinners." I froze, my hand hovering over the receiver, heart pounding as if the house itself, creaky floors, faded wallpaper peeling like old regrets, held its breath. Rain hammered the windows, blurring the Nebraska plains outside, and in that split second, I wondered if it was her ghost calling to say she'd changed her mind about forgiving me for who I was. I snatched it up, my voice cracking like thunder. "Hello, Mr. Riley Harlan? This is Donovan Pierce. I represent Evelyn Harlan's estate. We need to talk now. Your grandmother's will. It's not what your family thinks." The words hit me like a freight train barreling through the cornfields, the kind that rattles the tracks out by the old grain elevator. Grandma's funeral had been that morning, a soggy affair under gray skies in our nothing-special town of Harlan's Bend. The church pews sagged under the weight of cousins I hadn't seen since I was a kid dodging fireflies in her backyard, all murmuring condolences that felt as thin as the potluck Jell-O salads. Aunt Karen, with her peroxide hair and Bible-clutching grip, had led the charge in the receiving line, her eyes narrowing at me like I was the reason the organ music soured. Evelyn was old-fashioned. She'd hissed as we shuffled past the casket, Grandma looking smaller than life in her lace dress, hands folded over a rosary she'd never once used. She wouldn't want her legacy tainted by, well, you know. The family nodded, a ripple of whispers, because yeah, they all knew. I'd come out at 22, fresh from community college in Omaha, and it was like I'd lit a match in a hayloft. Dad, long gone to the bottle and a new wife in Denver, hadn't shown, but his absence screamed louder than any eulogy. I was 30 now, scraping by as a mechanic at the Ford dealership on Main Street, fingers perpetually stained with grease, my one-bedroom apartment above the laundromat smelling like motor oil and microwave dinners. Grandma had been my anchor, the one who'd slip me 20s for rainy days and listen without judgment when I'd ramble about the ache of loving men in a town that still whispered fairy behind picket fences. But cancer had stolen her quick, leaving me adrift in a sea of relatives who'd show up for the will reading like vultures to roadkill. The lawyer, some slick guy from Lincoln, had skimmed it that afternoon in the church basement. The farmhouse, the savings, the quilt collection she'd pieced from feed sacks, split even among her 3 kids and their broods. I'd gotten a locket, engraved with, "For my Riley boy, love always." It dangled heavy around my neck now, a cold reminder that love didn't always mean legacy. Donovan's voice pulled me back, smooth as aged bourbon but edged with urgency. "I'm outside. Can I come in? This can't wait." I cracked the door, rain sluicing off the porch roof, and there he was, tall, broad-shouldered in a wool overcoat that screamed city money, dark hair slicked back, jaw set like he was chewing gravel. His eyes, hazel, sharp, locked on mine, and for a beat, the world narrowed to the space between us, charged like the storm brewing overhead. He wasn't from around here. His boots were Italian leather, not the scuffed work ones we wore to stomp through mud. "Riley," he said, extending a hand that swallowed mine in a grip both firm and fleeting. "I'm sorry for your loss." Evelyn was. She was something else. We settled at the scarred oak table, steam rising from mugs of instant coffee I brewed to steady my shakes. Donovan peeled off his coat, revealing a crisp button-down that hugged his frame just right, sleeves rolled to elbows showing forearms corded from, God knows, gym time in a high-rise, not wrenches and tires. He was maybe 35, with a faint scar tracing his left temple, like a story he wasn't telling yet. "Your grandmother hired me 6 months ago," he began, sliding a thick envelope across the table. "Privately. She didn't trust the family firm. Said they were in Karen's pocket." I tore it open, fingers fumbling, and unfolded the pages. Notarized, dated last spring, her looping script witnessed by a notary from the cancer center in Omaha. My name leaped out like a flare. Riley James Harlan, sole beneficiary. The farmhouse, the 20 acres of leased farmland bringing in steady checks. The nest egg she'd squirreled away from Grandpa's insurance. Nearly $300,000, enough to rewrite my life. But why? I whispered, throat tight. She knew what they think of me. The prayers at Thanksgiving, the concerned calls from Uncle Ray. Donovan leaned forward, his knee brushing mine under the table. a spark I tried to ignore, though my pulse betrayed me. Evelyn said you were the only one who saw her, truly. Not the widow, not the church lady, but the woman who buried 2 husbands and a dream of California. She wrote letters, Riley, about you coming out, how it broke her heart not because of sin, but because she couldn't shield you from the world's ugliness. My boy's got a soul bigger than this county, she said. He deserves roots that don't choke him. Tears blurred the ink, hot and unbidden. I'd spent years bracing for rejection, steeling myself against the sideways glances at the bar in Omaha where I'd sneak away for stolen dances with guys who vanished by dawn. But Grandma? She'd baked me apple pie on my birthday last fall. Slipped a note inside. Love's not a choice, Riley. It's a gift. Don't let fools tell you different. I thought it was just her way, folksy wisdom over Folgers. Now it felt like prophecy. The storm broke then, wind howling through the eaves, and Donovan's hand covered mine, warm and steady. She made me promise to deliver this personally. Said a phone call wouldn't cut it for something this raw. I pulled back, not because I wanted to, but because trust was a rusty hinge in my chest. And you? What's your stake? Some hotshot estate lawyer playing white knight for a dying old lady. He winced, but his gaze held steady. Fair. I'm gay, Riley. Out since college. Disowned by my own blood in Boston. Evelyn found me through a referral. Said she needed someone who understood being the black sheep. We talked more than legalese. She reminded me of the fights worth having. The air thickened, rain lashing like accusations. I wanted to bolt, to laugh it off as small-town paranoia, but his honesty cracked something open. We talked till midnight, the coffee going cold, stories spilling like the downpour outside. He spoke of boardrooms in Lincoln where he'd clawed his way up, hiding his pride pin in his desk drawer until Evelyn dared him to wear it open. I confessed the hookups that left me hollow, the ex who'd bailed when Dad's ghost showed up drunk at our door. Donovan listened, not with pity, but that quiet nod of recognition, like we'd both mapped the same lonely roads. By dawn, the clouds parted, gold streaking the horizon over the silos. He had to head back, but not before pressing his card into my palm. Call me, for the paperwork. Or coffee. Your call. The family imploded 2 days later, like a tire blowing at 60 on I-80. Aunt Karen stormed the farmhouse, Uncle Ray in tow, faces twisted in the righteous fury of the overlooked. This is fraud, she bellowed, waving the will like a Confederate flag. Evelyn was senile, cancer fried her brain. That queer lawyer poisoned her against us. I stood in the doorway, Donovan at my side. He'd driven back at my frantic text, his presence a shield I hadn't earned. It's legal, he said coolly, voice like tempered steel. Notarized, witnessed. She was sharp as a tack till the end. Ray lunged, red-faced, jabbing a finger at me. You turned her, boy. Whispered your perversions in her ear while we slaved here. Fixing her roof, mowing her lawn. Betrayal burned hotter than their words. These were the kin who'd shared holiday hams, who'd taught me to bait a hook in the Platte River. But Grandma's letters, tucked in the envelope, painted a different truth. Karen's greed, siphoning loans from the farm account. Ray's absences, chasing poker nights in Council Bluffs. She'd seen their cracks, chosen me not out of spite, but faith, the kind that doesn't bend to blood. The argument escalated, voices rising like floodwaters, until Karen spat the ugliest truth. She pitied you, Riley. That's all. A lonely faggot with no one else. Donovan stepped forward, his arm brushing mine. A claim, unspoken. Pity? Evelyn Harlan built an empire from dirt and dreamed bigger for her grandson than you ever did for yourselves. Get out, or I'll call the sheriff. They left in a squeal of tires, but the damage lingered, a bruise on the soul. That night, as thunder rumbled again, Donovan stayed. We sat on the porch swing Grandma had rocked me in, stars pricking the ink-black sky. You okay? He murmured, his shoulder warm against mine. I turned, our faces inches apart, the air humming with what-ifs. I don't know. This house. It's hers, but it's mine now. And it feels like starting over, scared shitless. He cupped my cheek, thumb tracing my jaw, eyes searching mine in the porch light's glow. Then let's start together. No promises, just this. His lips met mine, soft and sure, tasting of rain and resolve. A kiss not of fire, but hearth, the kind that warms bones long chilled. Weeks blurred into months. The will contested but upheld in a Lincoln courtroom where Donovan dismantled their lies with the precision of a surgeon. The farmhouse became ours. His suits hung beside my overalls, his laughter echoing in rooms that had gone quiet. We planted tomatoes in her garden, argued over quilt patterns, made love in the featherbed she'd saved from the attic. Not frantic, but tender, mapping each other's scars like sacred text. The betrayal scarred, sure. Christmas came without family, just us and a store-bought tree, toasting with her canned peaches. But in the quiet victories, the first check from the land lease, the pride flag fluttering defiant on the porch, I found Grandma's gift wasn't the money, but permission, to love without apology, to root where I'd bloomed. One evening, as fireflies danced like lost souls in the yard, Donovan knelt by the swing, a simple band in his palm, silver, etched with roots and rain. Marry me, Riley, not because of her, but because of us. Tears came, joyful this time, and I pulled him up, our foreheads touching. Yeah, hell yeah. Grandma's ghost smiled, I swear, in the rustle of the corn. In Harlan's Bend, where winds whisper old hates, we'd carve a new story. One of two men, hands clasped, turning inheritance into home. Not perfect, not painless, but human as the heart that beats beneath it all. And in America, where dreams die hard and love fights dirtier, that was victory enough.